Good evening, everyone. This is Barbara Perkins, Coach Barbara. I am praying that this started. There was a little bit of a delay in the technology. We scheduled it, and of course, it's now on. So, good evening to you. Happy Monday evening. I am happy you joined us today at Real Talk with Love. And this evening, I'm so excited about our conversation that we're about to have. It's about all the challenges that we're facing while we're sheltered in together. And there have been lots of challenges. I've gotten text messages and calls and emails from friends just simply saying, asking questions like, how do I do this? And really expressing their frustration and willingness to work through some of the challenges. So this evening, we're going to do that. And we're going to be on for about 30 minutes. But before we get started, we're coming off of Holy Week, which was, for me, the weekend was absolutely wonderful. I spent lots of time watching live television and live inspiration. And it was just absolutely amazing and wonderful to spend the weekend just really chilled out. The weather here in Atlanta was a little gloomy, but it was like the perfect rainy day to sit in and just do reflection and fill up with all the wonderfulness that I could find on live TV and screening. Before we get started this evening, it's been such a wonderful weekend, but it's been a pretty heavy weekend. We've lost a lot of lives in this country, and it's getting closer and closer to home. I had a girlfriend today call, just today. Her mom lost her mother. A couple in Florida, both husband and wife, passed. What gets you is when you hear the stories of children. And I don't know about you, but that's a heavy place to be. But through all of that, we still have to move forward. But I'd like to just take just a brief 20 seconds in memory and in honor of the wonderful people that have lost their lives and offer up prayers to those families who are grieving and who will never be the same. So let's just take a moment and think about them. We ask God to bless those families and to hold them together in this time of transition and uncertainty. Tonight, I also want to thank those of you who joined us last Monday when we talked about the need for us to prepare ourselves for when we make our transition and how we want to leave our families. The feedback and the emails and the thread comments were absolutely provocative, some of them, but also thought-provoking is what I really wanted to say. And it made me go back and think about some of the other things that perhaps we didn't talk about last Thursday. But I thank you for sharing so deeply. And also, I want to give you a gift. I forgot last week that I wanted to offer a gift to at least one of you and the books that I recommended. So I'll tell you more about that later, but I'm going to offer up a few gifts tonight. So do not leave. Okay, you'll enjoy that. So I appreciate your coming in, Wendy. I see you. Thank you. My big sister, Deborah Thompson, is in the house. Thank you, Deborah. I see Chanel is in the house. Good to see you all. Thank you for coming back. Hi, Brandy. My niece is in the house. Linda is here. Thank you. Thank you. Erica, I see you. So as you guys are coming in, just want you to know, again, this is Real Talk with Love. You know that I'm Coach Barbara. And tonight I want to talk about a topic that's a little sensitive. We are sheltered in together. Folks are a little bit on the edge. There's a lot of stress. There's some anxiety there. And people are feeling a little bit overwhelmed. The news isn't so great. When I listen to the level of domestic violence, oh my goodness, spiked in this period of time. I could see why. It's not a good thing. And also, some things are happening not just with couples, but business partners and family members, because we're not so used to everybody being home at the same time. And what is happening in the home and how we're relating to each other and having to go back and spend this much time together. So we're going to hop into that. Thank you for coming in. I see you, Deb. Ask me questions if you'd like. What I'm going to try to do is answer some questions that came in earlier, because it could be sensitive, and I want to make sure that I'm not speaking directly into someone's personal matters, but answering in a general way. So, hey, Jeannie, thanks for being here. Glad you're here. I want to answer in a general way because I don't want to put your business out, on the internet. But some of the questions that you may have are sensitive. So if you type them in, I'll take a look and see if I can answer them without talking about your specific business. Okay. So again, what's up? Frustration is up. Stress levels are up. Anxiety is out the roof. Patience are short. So how do we manage those things? I'm going to deal with not the couples at the moment. I'm going to save that for the end. I'm going to talk a little bit about our family relationships and how we can do a few things to manage those relationships. The children are home, perhaps, in some of the homes. And parents are trying to teach as well as work, as well as figure out how to manage the space together. And all of that requires planning. We have to really think it through. It's not going to happen when we wake up in the morning. It's just going to happen. It's not going to happen without a plan. And now that you've been sheltered in for 2 or 3 weeks, it's not going to happen. That some days are going to really be difficult days. I had a client who called and said, I am calling you from the bathroom because that is the only place in the house where I can go without having, and this was the way she referred to it, people listening to my conversations. Well, maybe they're not really trying to listen to your conversation, but because you're in the same space, there's a temptation to want to hear. So what do you do about that? What do you do about managing? And that was a question that came in. Managing a smaller amount of space to work in and live, and also allow others to have space. How do you do that? It requires planning. We have to really plan it and negotiate what space is going to be your workspace, and it has to be consistent. Because just because you change your mind and you want to work from the living room today doesn't mean that the others have been informed or they've changed their minds. So you have to negotiate that space. Even if you have enough space, just where you're going to be consistently, and it's known to everyone in the home that this is my workspace for this time being, that the things that I have sitting here for work, it's important that those things stay the way they are so that when you come back to them, they're there. It's important that you can take a telephone call without having to worry that you're going to be interrupted, or that a television is going to go on, or that a phone is going to ring, right? Or somebody is having another Zoom meeting on the other side of you. So you have to really plan it out and negotiate the space, and then really be fair about it. Think about what other people need as you're managing that space. Then so that's family. Another really big thing I think it's important for family is when this started, I created a family chat on Facebook. Now, I know a lot of people have that, already, but we did it. This was our first time putting it together. And this was a place where we can check in with family, Just go in the mornings. Hey, Anthony, glad you're here. This is a place where you can go in and just say, hey, I'm okay today. How are you? I haven't heard from you. Are you okay? Or just put little things in the chat room that other family members may want to know about. Now, in managing that space, what's really important and sensitive is that you be respectful and mindful that everybody in the family may not want their information up. For example, I had a brother that had a birthday the other day, and I know he's not on Facebook, but I wanted the others in the family to remember that it was his birthday. So I was very careful what I put on. There were some pictures that I moved from another page and I put them on my page, but I wanted to make sure that I was only moving my brother's photo because I knew that would be okay with him. So as a family, there's some protocol that you have to really be mindful of. You can't just put what you think is okay to put up there. If you're having a problem with someone or dispute in the family, you want to make sure that you only put your information up. Okay, so that's family stuff. Now let's talk about business. This is really important. Everybody's working in a new way. And prior to COVID-19, you may not have been set up to do business at home. However, there's an expectation that when you are on the clock at home, you're working. So I would offer as a suggestion is to plan your work day as if you were going to work. The only difference is because you're home, you're able to have more breaks. And so you plan for the breaks. But the space that you designate as your workspace, keep it as your workspace to make sure that you honor the work that you're doing. And it's strange for those of you, like I have a small business, very small staff, very small. The people who help me, they're now working from home. So it's really different and it could be stressful. They're home, they're on a different schedule than I am, even though we're working in the same space and on the same projects. They may want to work in the mornings and I might want to work in the evening. So you have to really talk it through and plan it out. Another thing that's come up, someone sent me a note about finances. This is a really tough time. Just before the shutdown, our small business took on a new office space. We're so excited about it. We just furnished it. We're just getting ready to decorate and get the offices together. 4 of us in the office. We all had our spaces all carved out, getting ready to work, and then shut down. Well, the landlord, we're still negotiating, but to this point, they're not being as flexible with us financially as we would hope. Now, I understand that they're in business, and we have to understand that they're in business, and they didn't plan for this just like we didn't. So they're not necessarily in the business to forgive the rent, so to speak. Now, we don't know how long we're going to be out of that office. Most of what we do, we had planned to do from the office space. So clearly, we've had to find a new way to do it. But the payment of the monthly bills, they continue. And even if those bills are deferred, it doesn't mean that they go away. So the difficult conversation about who pays and who manages the finances of the business while you're closed is a conversation you have to have. I had one partner who said, but I really didn't even want the office. We were doing well when we worked from home. And so now I knew we were taking on more than we could handle. And so I don't feel financially obligated. Plus, I don't have the money. Well, it's your business. So whatever the resolution is, you have to find a joint resolution and try to keep your business and hold your business together post COVID-19. And it may just be this time to sit down and think about, how did you get to where you are? Even when I go back to family, navigating the space that you're in without arguments requires having a really calm conversation about the space, the limitations. Hi, Gwen. Glad you're here. It's important to have these conversations. And so I hope that that was a little bit helpful when we're talking about family and when we're talking about your business space and your partnerships. Now I want to shift to the big conversation. I want to shift to couples. This is the big conversation. No matter how much room you have, I thought I'd turned my phone off. It's going to be when you have this difficult time of who gets to be where and in what room. And it's really important that you think about it in advance. Make a decision on who's going to be where. Negotiate the space fairly. And for those who may be in limited space, really think about whether or not it is fair that you get to spend the bulk of the time in the largest space. Now hold that for a little bit. It might mean that you have to be flexible and trade off space. Everyone can't be in the same ideal spot. If you're sharing a computer, you may have to think about whether or not it's fair that you have the computer all day during your workday and then in the evening as well. Even if you think that the other person doesn't have anything really important to say or do, you still want to be fair. Sharing the space that you have is really important. One of the things that I would suggest to help during the day is to plan some break time together. That's really important. Plan a little time where you take a 5-minute, a 10-minute break or an extended lunch break together, where the break is specifically for you to be together, not for work, but specifically for you to be together. Those moments help you stay connected. I see you, Shashada and Javonda and Paul. Thank you for being here. So I hope this is helping. Show me some stars, some hearts or something, some comments. I'm not seeing your comments as fast. I'm looking for them, but I'm not seeing them as fast. So, Simona, thank you for being here. And Sandra, Corley, BJ, and Faye, thank you for being here. We're having this real talk with love about how we navigate our sheltering in time with each other without the stress and the anxiety and the arguments and perhaps the fights around it, right? You don't want the negativity from the outside, the pressures from the outside to seep into your life in a way that you cannot manage. And I've been getting all these jokes about divorce after COVID-19. I'm not subscribing to that. No. Hey, Kim, I see you. Tamalee, thanks for coming in. And I see you, Pat, Najee, Juanita. Chanel, Sharon, thanks for being here, you all. I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions, put them in your comments so I can see them. So let me tell you a few more tips, because we have about 10 minutes, and then I want to have 5 minutes at the end, because I told you I'm giving gifts today, because I'm happy you're here. So I talked about carving out your space, right? Here's another really big point. I call them the invisible agitators. Sit with that for a minute. The invisible agitators. These are the little things that can really get on your nerve, right? Because you're not accustomed to hearing different sounds, when you're at work, right? Because maybe at work, you're in your office, you have a routine at work, nobody else is there. So you gotta watch out for those invisible agitators, because they will slip in little things, right? Somebody laughing in the background. I don't know. The water's on. The tea kettle goes off in the middle of your conference call. Anything. The slamming of doors if you have children in the house. All those things can build upon each other, begin to aggravate you, and before you know it, you're snapping. I call them the invisible agitators. Watch out for them. The laundry, how things pile up. And if you're like me, I like to move things. I don't like a whole lot piled up. But fortunately, it's just the two of us in the home, so we have our routine. We know how we know how we move together. But even with the routine and all the planning that we do, invisible agitators, they show up, right? Somebody may decide today. I washed my hair this morning, and we have 2 full bathrooms. We both clean, and we have a guest bathroom. But the outlet for my blow dryer was not working in my bathroom. So I went into the one that we call Stan's bathroom. And I set up all of my beauty salon in there to do my hair. And at one point, I walked out, I came back, he was in there, and I was waiting, and I had a certain amount of time set, and he was just there. And then I thought, okay, I really need to get in here. But then I had to think about it and say, wait a minute, I moved. This is his normal space, right? This is his normal space. So I had to watch my mouth. So that was my invisible agitator popped up. Oh, here's another good one. Deborah says, together early hours, movie time with popcorn and snack with my husband. It's been an extra treat. See, that's different, to have these early morning breakfasts, right? We get up anytime because we're home now. So we're not planning. There's no set alarm to go anywhere. We're home. So you can do whatever you want. You can have popcorn and snacks in the mornings. You can watch a movie in the mornings if you want to do that before you start work. All those things help. Sharon says they may as well forgive you because who else has money to pay them? Right? I did my own hair today. I took off my little scarf I've been wearing for a week. Said it's time to do something with this. Hi, Eleanor. Thanks for being here. So watch the invisible agitators. Next thing, we talked about breaks together. Plan meals and chores. Do not wait until, well, let me not tell you what to do. I'm just going to tell you what I think works best. I know it works best for me, and this is what I've been recommending. I wake up in the mornings and I make a decision on what we're going to have for dinner. That decision is usually made before 9 o'clock. When I'm up looking to make tea, I'm also thinking about dinner. I have a little menu board. I wish I would have brought it in. It's a small little menu board that sits on my counter, and I write down every day what we're having for dinner. And the reason why I do that, it saves me from having to answer the question 3 times in the day. What are we having for dinner? What do you think we should have for dinner? I don't have to do that because I've written it on the board. It's there. We both get reminded, because sometimes I even forget, but we both get reminded what we're having for dinner. Plan the meals so that it's less stress. You don't get to 3 o'clock in the afternoon and nobody took anything out of the freezer, and then there it is. And then I took it out yesterday. Maybe you should think about it sometime. All of that. So, having a plan for dinner, for house chores. Who gets to clean? What you're going to clean? What needs to be done? We just decided today, because we were going to the grocery store. I don't know about you all, but I have spent so much money in the grocery store in the last month. I can't even believe we have been to the grocery store so many times. So yesterday I said, okay, we're going to pick a day, one day a week for as long as we're here, sheltered in, to go to the grocery store. So we decided that Wednesdays will be our day. Talked about it this morning. And then this afternoon, Stan said to me, oh, I'm going to make a run to the bank. And I said, I thought we decided Wednesdays would be our day for the grocery store or any other errands that we have. And he said, oh, yeah, that's right. So that was like early afternoon. But the thing that he wanted to do at the bank stayed with him. So he came back later and he says, I think I'm just going to go. You want to go? And I said, no, I'm going out one day a week. And I'm going to try to not even do that if I can. Having a plan. Plan the meals. Hi, Joanna. Glad you're here. Plan the meals out. Plan the chore time. I'm going to quickly do the last two, and then we're going to get to our giveaways. Manage your own expectations. What you're expecting of others may not be in their plan. Unless you have a conversation with them, you cannot make an assumption that everybody in the house knows what to do at the time that you think it should be done. Manage your expectations. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. And then manage the workload. That's a big piece. I'll end with that one. Manage the workload. Just because we're home doesn't mean we have to do 25 things. It's okay if you only do 2 things today. It's perfectly okay. Decide which 2 or 3 must be done in a day. Do those. And if you're lucky enough to get a few other things done, great. But if you don't, that's fine too. Because it's really important. Being in the house together doesn't mean that you're being together. It's important that you have some time together, meaning you, the family, as a unit. If you are a unit, you are doing one thing, whether it's having a meal together, doing chores together, or you're just sitting watching the news. If you're going to take in news in the evening, maybe you do that together. But it's so important that you manage your workload. It might be, and here's where I'll end. It might be that you check in on your other family members together. Make those phone calls, say hello, see how people are doing, check in on them. And that's something you can do together. I'll give you 3 no's, and then we're out. These absolutely no's. I'm not going to even say they're negotiable. Do not have personal conversations online. Your personal matters should stay between you and your business partner, you and your mate, you and your family members. Don't put it out there. Don't put it out there for the world to see, right? I mean, you can't take it back. That's the point. You can't take it back. And it will be misinterpreted and it'll come back and it's definitely going to hurt somebody's feelings. The difficult conversations, don't avoid them. Have them in the moment, not the heat moment, in the moment that it's necessary to resolve them. Do not, because what you don't want to do is have them pile on. Because when they pile on, then they get really messy. Don't make assumptions that your business partner, the other family members, well, they should have thought of that. They should have known better. No. If you want them to know, you need to say it. This is Real Talk with Love. So you all know, and I'm looking at Eleanor. It says, sounds like the type of household I grew up in. My parents were totally organized. Have a plan or plan to fail. Do not as you me. That's funny. Thank you for that, Eleanor. Linda, thanks for being here. Jackie, Mary, really good to see you all. I'm glad you're here. So listen, last week, so that's it for my tips. And hopefully they're in thread so you can go back and look over the tips I gave you for what makes it work. And then the few things I gave you that I thought were important to say, these are no's. What we want to do is we want to come out of this thing even better friends than we were before this happened, closer than we were. This is our opportunity to really wrap our arms around each other, really get closer to our family members. This is a great time to mend anything that's going on in the family. It's difficult. I know. I'm from a big family. I know what it's like to have fractured families. This is a great time to try to hold on to those relationships that are significant and important to you. So I hope this was helpful. And what I want to do now is I want to show you your gifts. This is the first one. And this is the book I talked about last week. When I'm Gone, Practical Notes for Those You Leave Behind. So how we're going to do this, we are going to look back through the thread and we're going to pick the number 5 person who made a comment or who asked a question. So we're going to go back through the thread and we're going to see who the 5th person was. And that person is going to get this book. We will reach out to you and make sure you get it. And then we have another gift. And this gift, hi Deirdre, glad you joined us. This is, can you see that? Let me go this way. Magic of Mentoring, Pearls of Wisdom. And this is one of my 7 books. And I think you'd love this book. We are going to give this book to the person who has a birthday this month. If you have a birthday this month, type me in the comments. Me is my birthday. Okay, so if there are no persons with birthdays in April, then we're going to get someone in March, towards the end of March, closest to the 30th of March. They'll get this book. And then the third gift I have is my new book. Let me see how I get it in here. Okay. Restoration. Can you see that? Restoration, 7 Promises of God by Barbara Perkins and the foreword by Iyanla Van Zandt, my spiritual coach and friend. This book, let's see how we're going to give this one out. What do you think I should do? Shashada, it's your birthday today? Yay! You're getting a book. I see you, Christina. Your birthday is this month too. We'll see. Okay. April. What did I say? The person with a birthday this month? Closer to today? I got to go back to the thread and see what I said. Joanna. So how we're going to give out this book? Coralie. She's got a birthday. A lot of birthdays. Okay. So this book is going to the seventh, since it's 7 promises of God, the 7th person who made a comment on the thread will get this book. So those are my 3 gifts tonight. I thank you so much for being here. Listen, if there's anything you want us to talk about, we'll be right here next Monday at 7 o'clock. I think I have something in mind. I had a lot of feedback about the black bag that I have with all my final stuff in it and important papers. I have got a lot of feedback on that. Well, I have another bag. I have a red bag. I'm not going to tell you about it yet, but I think that's what we're going to do next Monday night. So listen, on the thread is Amazon. You can get any one of those books, by the way, through Amazon. And hey, Lionel, my friend, you can get any one of the books on Amazon. And for those of you who are up close and personal, you could email me. Perhaps that's all of you. But I prefer if you get it from Amazon, because going to the post office, I'm only going out once a week and that's Wednesdays. So it'll take a little bit longer for you to get it. Anyway, thank you for your time. It's been a wonderful half an hour or so with you. I appreciate you. And again, this is Barbara, Coach Barbara Perkins. Real Talk with Love, every Monday at 7 p.m. Thank you. Good night. Bye-bye.